Hello chaps and chapettes, and welcome to a review of Panzer Knights, a game from Joybrick Games, a new studio from China. This is of mild importance for part of the critique of this game, but I'll come to that a little bit later. The game itself just launched off early access, and as is available as a full game, it will give you a good 7 to 10 hours of gameplay. It will set you back about 35 Australian buckaroos. This is a typical mid-range indie-style game, not aiming to be a AAA title, not aiming to the stars, but knowing its place as a more budget-centred game, which in itself is not a bad thing, not one bit. Actually, we need more of that. We need more games that are willing to accept that they're not a super AAA game, they're a mid-range game. That's not a bad thing at all. So, what is this game about? Well, effectively it tells the history of the 4th Panzer Division from 1939 to 1943. You'll start your career off in the Panzer Corps training grounds, head off to Poland for some minor war crimes and fun, roll over Belgium and then France, give the British a bloody nose at Dunkirk, and then finally get your ass handed to you by the Russians. Oh, sorry, spoiler on World War II. Sorry about that. Anyway, the game is fairly accurate and follows the German Wehrmacht Panzer Corps through their European adventure. The game is, of course, from the German perspective, and you play as an anime character, of course, and it does have some nice shell-shaded graphics as well, which makes the game feel very much like Girls Und Panzer, which is part of the reason I'm making this, because, well, it feels like a Girls Und Panzer game on the PC. But instead of having fun playing around with practice rounds, you shoot people with a armour-piercing shell, watch them explode, and commit the odd war crime. All the while, the cute anime teens have fun, tell tales, and wonder why the Polish decided to attack a German radio station, and how, for a nation on the attack, it's rather strange that they were so unprepared. Okay, so let us talk about the rather large Panzerjäger Tiger P in the room. You play as a German soldier, a member of the Wehrmacht, and therefore your boss is one Mr. Adolf, who is ruling, let's say, the Yahtzee party. We can't say certain words on YouTube, yay, censorship, and therefore you are looking at history through the rose-tinted lenses of German soldiers. So yes, you will think that things are great, you will say, make Germany great again, but remember, you are playing a character. If you don't want to be a German soldier in World War II, you dislike Mr. Adolf, then that is fair, absolutely. But this game isn't going to be for you. But one thing the game does not do is glorify the fascist Yahtzee party. It does have the soldiers questioning orders, they do talk about how bad things get, but you are effectively playing as the bad guy. Anyway, now that that has been said, let's talk about the gameplay. So effectively, this game plays like a mix of World of Tanks and War Thunder, all with a cute Girls Und Panzer aesthetic. The gameplay and armour system is actually pretty advanced and works surprisingly well. If you angle a Tiger, for instance, then few tanks will damage you. But if you sit side on to a KV-2 and get hit by an HE shell, yeah, you're going to have a bad time. Using a Panzer II to fight a Char B2 is hard, as you would expect, using a 20mm autocannon to fight a French heavy tank. It was something I found charming about this game, and it did impress me a fair bit. One thing that did not impress me, however, is the AI. The enemy AI is rather dumb. I mean, French tactics weren't all that great, but I don't even think they were as bad as they are in the game. They would rather charge you than keep at range, for instance, and they often just sit there like a sitting duck and are easy to take out. The AI make up for its stupidity with sheer numbers sometimes, and you will get overrun if you do not think quick. Another huge issue is the lack of a checkpoint or save system in mid-missions. You may go for up to 50 minutes and in a mission, And when you die at the very end, it is very, very frustrating. Especially if it's something like your AI partner's dying and there's nothing you can really do about it. But overall, you will find the upgrade system, the new vehicles will help negate this frustration, as generally you earn currency even with a defeat, so you can get new tanks relatively easily and quickly. So let's move on to the tanks. There is a large number of tanks you can unlock and use. There is everything from the 38T to the King Tiger. You have plenty of choices from the Panzer 2, 3 and 4 to pick, which all have their strengths and weaknesses. The first time you get a 50mm cannon, you feel like an absolute boss. Then you get a 75mm cannon, you feel like a king. Finally, you get the 88, you feel like a god. The range of German vehicles makes a nice selection of gameplay styles. They even include a few assault tanks like the Strug and the Jagdpanther. And then you have the captured vehicles, from the aforementioned Char B2 to the KV2, and finally there is even an IS2 to get, with many between for fun. The enemy also have a huge range of tanks and tankettes to choose from, as well as anti-tank guns, which can be absolutely devastating. You earn a good amount of cash and reward to unlock tanks with each mission, and there is some replay value as well. Taking a King Tiger and, just going into Poland with it, it can be kind of fun. As you will need to use currency to upgrade the crew too, the crew system allows you to choose between 30 different characters, each with their own special perks that can be upgraded. 15 men and women with all their weeby goodness. The other part of the game is the friendship system, and this means if you do a specific mission with 2 crew members, it will unlock special dialogue between them, and give them an extra bonus skill that can range from more durable tracks, more charges for your heal, airstrikes or resupplies. A nice bonus that can really make the game much easier, especially for some of the tougher missions later in the game. On to the missions themselves. The missions range from a very basic feeling hunt and destroy to defending allies. These can be really fun to frustrating. Defending allies can be a real pain and cost you a win quite quickly because they are pretty dumb and they will basically throw themselves at a cliff like Lemmings being filmed by Walt Disney. The missions also have bonus objectives that can be ignored if you choose to, but some will really help you later on in the mission. So you don't feel like you're just wasting ammo. But they all have a good balance, and I never struggled more than one replay on a mission. Some may find this a little bit too easy, I guess, but it never was boring, and each time I had quite a bit of fun. And if you are finding it too easy, choose a worse tank. And at the end of the day, this is your balancing system for the game. Want a real challenge? Take a 38T out to the Battle of Kursk. You're not going to have an easy time with that, and that's going to up your difficulty. On to the next part, and this one's a little bit tricky, the dialogue. This game is very story heavy in the way the history aspect of the game are actually done, and they're actually pretty well done. I was expecting much worse. This game is not trying to be 100% historically accurate, but at the same time it doesn't lie and bend the truth as much as you would expect. Germany only lost a battle because they were unlucky. It explains some of the reasons why these battles were lost, and it doesn't delve into the command structure so much, but they do look at some of those aspects of incompetent commanders. A huge issue though is translation and spelling mistakes. You will notice heaps, sadly. But again, cut the studio some slack. They seem to be a relatively small Chinese team and have made a very fun, well-designed game. Do they use some questionable terms? Yes they do. But they are listening to feedback and have been fixing things, which is good. Language can be hard, especially slang, and we all need to learn sometimes. So overall, is this game fun? Well, it's well worth looking at. If you're into the anime world, enjoy Girls Und Panzer, you will likely have fun here. It's not the best written game of all time, it's not going to be the game of the year, but at the end of the day, this was a really fun experience with 35 buckaroos, and I'm not in the least bit upset about spending that for it. I hope we see some more from the game too. It feels like they can add some more side missions, and hopefully more storyline too. Africa maybe? The Italian campaign is left open? What about the Battle of Norway? That would be a really interesting one to have tanks on, because that's not explored very much. These could be great options for future missions to the game, and seeing the game has sold over 1 million copies, I saw this on Facebook the other day that they were very proud of, the devs seem to be going and keeping working on this game. Because as it stands, it's a really solid base game. It plays well, the writing is decent, and most of all, it's enjoyable. And if you want a fun game to take a day away from you, you can do much worse than this for sure. Panzer War! Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you found it somewhat useful and interesting. Let me know in the comments below if you've played this, what you think about it. It's available on Steam, as I said. It's not Girls Und Panzer, but it's about as close as we're going to get on PC, it seems. The game has got some really good aspects to it, and its strengths do overcome its weaknesses. I've played this game for a good couple of weeks now. I've spent a fair few hours in it, and I must say I've been thoroughly charmed. It's really been quite enjoyable. Sorry, I'm just clicking to actually work out how many hours. So I spent 15 hours in it. So a good amount of hours in all honesty, and I completed it in about 10 hours. So that gives you an idea of the sort of length of game. There is replayability with the storyline missions and things like that, and also unlocking the tanks. So yeah, really worth it. Alright, thank you so much for watching. My name's Carl Screezilla. I'm going to wish you all the best. If you like this video, please subscribe. And again, if this gets quite good views, I might go into some more depth in some of the missions. Alright, till next time, bye bye.